What do you hear? What do you say? Today we are looking at Wolfenstein 2009, originally released for the PS3, Xbox 360, and good old Games for Windows. Games for Windows had such hits like Halo 2 for Windows Vista, Mahjong Tales of Wisdom, and the game that is so much more German than Wolfenstein 2009 or any Wolfenstein game could ever be, Farming Simulator. Though none of these games come close to my favorite game on the Games for Windows title, and that would be My Horse and Me, with such innovative gameplay loop of training, grooming, riding, and competing. Perhaps Bethesda could learn from this, and imagine how well Starfield would have done if they had a grooming mechanic, or perhaps a whole grooming skill tree with riding including. The hardest part of actually playing this game is obtaining a legitimate copy on PC. See, Activision, or Raven Software, I'm not sure which, actually doesn't want you playing this game, as you can't buy it on any major gaming platform like Steam, GOG, or even Epic. It's similar to the government banning raw milk. Perhaps I want to get multiple parasites, Listeria, Salmonella, and have my internal organs fail. Honestly, that's kind of a very comparable experience to playing this game. But have no fear, I have had this experience many times with delisted games. All I usually do is fly over to the back alleys of Poland, trade a 6-pack of Ziyech and Camel cigarettes and one leftover punchki for a CD key from good old Pavel with a W. This time, though, he wanted a meager $12,000 for one CD key, but luckily for me, I found a copy for the Xbox 360 at the local thrift store. Now you may ask yourself, why does this matter? You're playing it on PC. And the answer is pretty simple. Since I actually own a legitimate copy of the game now, given on a different platform, it has now given me the moral superiority to torrent the game. See, this whole philosophy is kind of like doing something good so you don't feel bad when you do something bad. It's like rounding up my McDonald's order to charity so I can send white phosphorus to the women's shelter. It all evens out in the end. The game has two modes, single player and multiplayer. Because this copy is proudly brought to you by Razor1911 and I don't like malware or copious amounts of desktop strippers, I will be only focusing on the single player aspects of the game. The game starts out with BJ Blazkowicz investigating a strange medallion in the town of Eisenstadt, and generally just looking for a man called General Zeta. It is very progressive of the Germans of this time to use Z pronouns. After arriving at the German resistance headquarters, you learn that General Zeta has last seen at an archaeological dig site. Though, you do not find the general here. Though you do take a page from the ISIS handbook and blow up the archaeological portal that the Nazis were excavating. You also find a member of the Golden Dawn, who are essentially the Schizo Society, but the schizos who are right. So technically basically like the guy who said that the Jews are underground in New York. Here you will get a medallion that further in the game will unlock more supernatural powers. After returning to the Resistance headquarters, you are then set to destroy a strange device that the Nazi regime has set up in the church. You make your way through the church. As you destroy the device, the resulting explosion changes a Nazi officer into something resembling the guy in the cover art. At this moment I said, is this when the game gets good? It's actually him. It's the Wolfenstein 2009 for Games for Windows. It's actually him. Now this is the first boss fight, or so I thought. He was just a regular enemy, died pretty quickly. You are then instructed by the Schizo Society to investigate a farmhouse where the agents went missing. As you explore the farmhouse, in a truly shocking twist, it is not just a regular German dairy farm, but a secret Nazi base where they are doing experiments on the populace. As you explore deeper and deeper into the facility, you are seeing that the Germans are turning the populace into Valorant players, perhaps to create a national esports team. Heading back into town, you have to go find out what's happening in the hospital nearby. As it turns out, once again, they're experimenting on the populace and creating invisible weaves that Naruto run at you with ice picks.
Nazis are performing some kind of experiments on the patients in the surgical ward.
Resistance has tracked down the machine from the church originating at a cannery, and your mission is to explore and report back. It is here you meet General Zeta, and you'll turn out that he's no human at all, but secretly some wizard Lurm creature. This is another great trash boss fight. Returning back, the leader of the resistance has now been kidnapped and taken to a Nazi castle. What is this, some sort of return to Castle Wolfenstein or something? As you infiltrate the castle, you will see some villains from the previous game, but I never played a Wolfenstein game ever before, so I didn't know who the hell you are. Oh, the leader, she doesn't make it. No. Now back in town, there's these strange Huawei 5G towers are being put up in order for this new Zeppelin that has just arrived to use its super weapon. You will have to infiltrate the airfield to board the Zeppelin while it's refueling. There is also a very aesthetically pleasing mini-boss. See, in this alternate timeline, the anime figures come pre-installed with the jar. As you delve further into the Zeppelin, you will enter a portal into the black hole sun dimension. This is the only good boss fight in the game, and it's against who I assume is Marcus Rule. And you'll need to use each one of your medallion powers to defeat him by sacrificing each power to kill him. Eventually, you blow up the device that's in this dimension and you lose your medallion forever. But the good news is, the game is finally over, and I can still hear his stupid repeated voice lines to this day. Now, you may be asking yourself, this didn't feel like a good cohesive story, but felt more like a bunch of Bethesda fetch quests that have been shittily crafted together like a very cheap hair transplant from Turkey. And you'd be right. But it's not just any Bethesda fetch quest. It's not a Morrowind one, it's not an Oblivion one, not even a Skyrim one. It's once again a Starfield one. The game attempts to add an open world, but there's literally nothing to do but either go to the mission or go visit the black market to buy ammo to upgrade your weapons. So they just add droves of enemies to slow down your travel time and increase playtime. Wolfenstein's open world can be summed up like you're avoiding the homeless people and drug addicts when taking public transportation. Speaking of the black market, I really didn't use it that much because I wanted to get to the mission as fast as possible, though I was very happy when they told me that it was the last opportunity to buy from them, because that means the game was almost over. But let's look at the good of this game. The weapons feel really satisfying, and they're very cool. Throughout the game, you're able to pick up any weapon an enemy has. These can range from your usual timepiece weapons like MP40, MP43, Kar 98K, and the Panzerschreck. You will also get some very cool energy weapons. They are fun to use, and the enemies just dissolve for your eyes, and it's very satisfying. All of them kick ass except for the Tesla cannon. The Tesla cannon fucking sucks. Now, the game's best feature, German women. You know, I never knew the SS in Waffen SS meant super sexy. Just look at them. The last time I played a game of this quality was Resident Evil 6, and I never played another game in the series since. Maybe this will follow suit with Wolfenstein. For a summary, horrible story, horrible bosses, fun guns, and women. It's definitely one of the games of all time. I can proudly say that.